Greetings, hope you're doing well. Today I'm doing a quick review of the newest album from Jaden Smith titled Cool Vibe Tape Volume 3. Jaden Smith's musical career has been an interesting one to say the least. Being the son of a well-known celebrity, whether it be for better or for worse, has put Jaden's output under a huge microscope. And what I mean by that is that at first Jaden's music was contextualized as rich boy music by most outlets and listeners alike, often using his music to examine irrelevancies about wealthy entities entering a hobby rather than just saying if they like the music or not, which I found to be a bit unfair. However, once that thick layer of coverage eroded as Jaden put out more material, his music soon became the point of interest. And if you've listened to Jaden's previous projects, you know that he wears his influences on his sleeve. And that proved to be somewhat detrimental to his overall body of work, which in a way boxes in Jaden's ambitions, which is weird to say considering how many sounds he tries out. I personally have not been that big of a fan of Jaden's music, and this album honestly doesn't really move the pendulum in either direction for me. The core sound of this record is like neo-soul / hip-hop with a very indie chamber music aesthetic to boot, and that results in almost every song having these pristine orchestral embellishments and passages to make them sound much more prettier among the blissful and breezy acoustic-led instrumentation. And it does produce some highlights on the record for me. CIRCA 2015 is a nice opener with some soulful vocal passages. Falling for You with Justin Bieber is a nice lavish collaboration with a sticky refrain. Lucy is an absolute banger. I love the ending moments of that track. Cabin Fever and Deep End are more energetic, eventful songs that I really enjoyed, and I really like the closer that utilizes a children's chorus. So while I just listed off a handful of tracks that I enjoyed, this is a 17-track, 50-minute album with a lot of filler. There are a lot of short 2-minute and under tracks that are so underdeveloped, unimaginative, and just kind of lacking a sense of purpose in relation to the rest of the track listing. The songwriting on these tracks are noticeably weaker. The vocal performances sound very phoned in on these tracks, which are eerily similar to one another with their rhyme and rhythms, which I guess makes sense considering how consistent Jaden is utilizing the sound palette on this album, but that doesn't result in engaging tracks when most of them are sparse in uniquity. There's also a tremendous amount of Kid Cudi and Frank Ocean influence across the entire album, which is not a bad thing on its own, but Jaden never expands on these influences to justify having so much of them in the first place. And it could be Jaden is trying to kind of hone in on his own vocal signature or his own unique sound, but as of right now it hasn't really blossomed yet, so it is very noticeable on tracks like Rainbow Bath, Young in Love, Sunburnt, and Endless Summer. These tracks sound like knockoffs, and not in a flattering way. Yeah, so overall it's not really a project that made me want to come back to it. I think it's pretty shallow and lacking a firm identity for itself, despite how motivated Jaden was to piece this sound together and make this sound work. But in its defense, I think it's just kind of a project to vibe to, which I can see the appeal in. It's not trying to be something of absolute substance or significance. If you're looking for something unabrasive and easygoing, or if you're a big fan of Jaden's, give it a shot. But for me, I didn't like it all that much. I'd give it a